Hello and welcome to Unworthy History. We try to bring you actual history on this program. And today I'm going to bring you actual history from this old book, Indian Depredations in Texas by J.W. Wellbarger. The final edition published in 1889. Now this story today takes place in Kerr County, Texas. It's a story about the unfortunate incidents that occurred when Comanches attacked the Joy family way back around 1865. We do not know from what state the Joy family immigrated, the year they came to Texas, nor when they settled in Kerr County, but that they were among the earliest settlers in that county is certain. One morning in the year 1865, Mrs. Joy and her daughter started out in a buggy for the purpose of visiting a family residence at some distance. After spending the greater portion of the day with their friends, they reharnessed the old buggy horse and started to return home. But alas, on arriving at about the halfway ground near a little ravine where a dense thicket of underbrush grew, they were suddenly charged upon by a party of Indians, who caught the horse by the bridle and took the helpless women prisoners. Usually, whenever women were made prisoners by the Indians, they either carried them off into captivity or killed and scalped them on the spot. But on this occasion, they simply killed them. They severed the young woman's head from her body and cut her mother's throat from ear to ear. After committing this atrocious murder, they seem to have fled in a hurried manner, doubtless supposing that relief was close at hand, for they not only failed to scalp the women, but left the horse hitched to the buggy. After the Indians had fled, the faithful old buggy horse took the road home with the mutilated bodies of the women still lying in the vehicle and carried them all the way home. The people at the house, seeing the buggy approach without any occupants, ran out to see what was the matter, and they were horrified to find the lifeless bodies of both mother and daughter lying on the bottom with the warm blood still flowing from them. At first they supposed the daughter's head had been carried off by the Indians, but when unloading the buggy they found it under the seat. A more sorrowful sight, an eyewitness said, was never beheld. Mr. Joy was wild with grief and swore eternal vengeance against the Indians. He determined to make them pay for this dastardly murder of his wife and daughter, and it was not long before an opportunity for doing so occurred. Late one night his dogs kept up a continuous and fierce barking, and suspecting that Indians had been around the house, the next morning he took his gun and started out to reconnoiter. He had not gone far when he discovered several fresh moccasin tracks. He followed these tracks cautiously for several miles beyond the settlements. The Indians, 3 in number, supposing they were out of danger of pursuit, and being hungry and tired, had stopped, made a fire, cooked and eaten lunch, and then went to sleep. Mr. Joy, having followed their trail nearly all day, at length caught sight of the smoke rising up from their campfire. He sat down to rest himself a little and determine upon a plan of attack. He finally concluded to attack the camp at all hazards, whether the occupants were few or many, and putting his arms in good order, he crawled to within a short distance of it. Finding there were but 3 Indians and that they were lying down asleep, he advanced to within a few paces of them, deliberately raised his gun, blew out the brains of one, and before the others got fairly to their feet, he killed one with his 6-shooter. The third one took to his heels, with Joy close after him, but it was not joy to the Indian. Not being fully awake, and being terribly frightened besides, the Indians ran into some brush, which so checked his speed that Joy came up with them and drove a bullet through him with his revolver. On this occasion he sent 3 of the Indians to their happy hunting grounds, and many times subsequently he made them pay dearly for the murder of his wife and daughter. Some of the Joy family are still living in Kerr County. So that's the end of this story. It's not too long, but it's one of both tragedy and then retribution. So Mr. Joy's wife and daughter were brutally killed, and he then went and killed the three Indians that most likely had committed the murder. So that's it for this episode. If you want to see more episodes like this, then be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Unworthy History.